Hello and welcome to The Update. I'm Heidi Tiltons. The Defence Minister has hinted the Chinese Communist Party has chosen to back Labor in the upcoming federal election. It follows ASIO's revelation the spy agency had recently disrupted a foreign intelligence plot but didn't give details about the country or the target. Peter Dutton has told Parliament their target is clear.
We now see evidence, Mr Speaker, that the Chinese Communist Party, the Chinese government, has also made a decision about who they're going to back in the next federal election, Mr Speaker. No, pick this bloke as their candidate, Mr Speaker.
The religious discrimination bill has been shelved by the federal government after receiving legal advice it could increase the risk of discrimination in faith-based schools. The bill passed the lower house but has now been dropped from further debate. Betting agency Sportsbet has been fined $2.5 million over spam texts. The fine has been issued by the communication watchdog after texts and emails were sent to 37,000 people. WA's Premier Mark McGowan has revealed his wife has been the target of a threatening letter which forced the closure of his electorate office.
It had white powder in it. What they were intending was my wife would open it, and it contained a number of threats to harm her and my children and worse.
The powder was found to be non-lethal. Hey Dad actor Robert Hughes will have to wait on a decision about his parole until a psychological assessment is carried out. He's been eligible for parole since April 2020, but his full sentence expires in 3 years. Advocate Grace Tame is being urged to divulge more details about an alleged threatening phone call so it can be properly investigated. Australian researchers want loneliness to be addressed as a public health issue. They've found its problematic levels in more than 100 countries, particularly during the pandemic. And SpaceX has lost up to 40 satellites which were hit by a geomagnetic storm. In sport, all 4 Australian men's snowboarders have now been knocked out of the cross-border event at the Winter Olympics. The Australian men's cricket team begins life without Justin Langer as coach against Sri Lanka in their T20 International tomorrow. And Australian basketballer Joe Ingles is departing the Utah Jazz after 8 NBA seasons. In entertainment news, Bob Saget's family's confirmed the Full House star died from a head trauma. Investigators believe the 65-year-old was accidentally hit his head, thought nothing of it and went to bed. He was found the next day in his Florida hotel room. Kourtney Kardashian has not shied away from her fangirl side on a night out with Travis Barker and her son Mason. She's been spotted in LA wearing a vintage t-shirt from her fiancé's band, Blink-182. And Snoop Dogg is now the owner of the record label that launched his career nearly 30 years ago. No word yet, though, on how much he paid for Death Row Records. And that's the latest from the Nova Podcast News team, but we'll see you tomorrow morning for another episode of The Update.